Hi, it's Ronnie, and welcome to the Scrapfive challenge, where we all take 5 items and put them on our layouts. And of course, everybody's going to do it differently. This month it is bat or Halloween icon, stitch or faux stitch, splatters, 3 or more pattern papers, buttons, or flare. And I'm going to scrap this picture of Reagan when she is smaller. She is dressed as Spider Girl for Halloween. And so I cut out some die cuts and I'm going to put them together. That one I was showing you is an old green one. It's the little one, from Sizzix. And they had different colors for the size. So this is the smallest size that they had. And I've had this a long time. And I think it's just the cutest little jack-o'-lantern. And that is what it's called. And I cut off the little stem on there because it was orange, and I'm making it green. And I just cut one by hand because I forgot to cut one with the die cut. Yeah, but by hand works too. And then I'm going to remember that over in the little trash bowl that there is one that I put because it didn't cut out really good for those other pumpkins there. And when I inked it, part of it went flying, and that was the part that I wanted on the little jack-o'-lantern. So it is a wee bit shorter than I planned. Bat was one of the things. Of course, it said Halloween icons too, and I have that covered. But I wanted to make sure I had a bat in there. And this one has like a face on it. And so I did the face in green. And, the eyes and mouth. It's not the whole face. In green. And it's the same green that I used on the pumpkin. So I can use the same green all the way through it. And the reason I picked it was because of a flare that's up there. You can see that barely. And it was the same shade as that. And so I wanted to use the same green on everything. And it says 3 pattern papers or more. And I have 2 that's going to go in the background. But I had to work in at least one more. Well, my little broom there has 2 because I have wood grain, which is a pattern paper. And then that other one that I use for the straw, it is like, well, it's got like a design on it, but it's kind of reminded me of maybe what a straw broom would look like, kind of, sort of. It was in my scrap bin. And so it does have little lines going down in it. Some are darker than others, but I thought it'd work as my broom. And I also wrapped, well, it's crochet thread around. That's what I wrapped around it. And this is my cauldron, and it had a hand sticking up out of there, which I could have used, but I like sticking the feet up instead. And see how short the legs are on that witch over there? Well, I only cut part of the witch, because I'm going to have it upside down in my cauldron, but I'm going to make the legs longer. I took my vellum and I inked it with some green ink to make it look more green, and I cut the hand off, of course. You see me doing that. And now I'm cutting the legs down. And I wanted to make the legs striped, so you can see that little strip of green there. I'm going to make the stocking striped. And I had a piece of paper that was black and green striped, but it was 12 by 12. I couldn't find a scrap that was, so I decided I'd just make my own. And I wanted the feet to look more dimensional, so I cut out the shoes extra. Well, I cut them 2 times and glued them together off screen. And I'm just putting them right on top of these here. And that way it's more dimensional. And I inked them in the white, and I did it wrong. Yeah, the feet are upside down. I inked the tops. So I had to turn, when I put it together, I will turn around and ink the bottoms. The stripe, I'm just adding it on there, and I'm not worried about it hanging over because I'm just going to clip the extra off. And then they're just going to go upside down in the cauldron. I did not put any glue on the bottom of the vellum so that I'd be able just to stick the legs in there. But Yeah, I wanted it green just because green reminds me of Halloween more. But isn't it cute with those feet sticking up there and longer? Does look better, at least in my opinion. I ink. I'm gonna ink my cauldron too a little bit. I'm doing the white so it looks like the light is shining on it. And I can't remember what it is. One of the spider. When I go to ink it, I get a little bit too much, and I think I should have used the white gel pen on it. It's so small, but it looks better on the bigger pieces than it does the smaller pieces. Or else it might look better if somebody took their time a little more than me, because I think I was just kind of just going right along there. I am slow, but it was fast for me. Um, the die set that has most of this Halloween stuff is one I got from Peachy Cheap several years ago, and this pumpkin came with it too. And I cut it out in the orange, and then I did the green tops, and I added some. Well, it's kind of a light brown, kind of, you know how the pumpkin when it gets kind of dirty on the edges from laying on the ground. It kind of reminded me of that, and I thought it'd go good in the creases. So I used that light brown on there. Faux stitching, well, stitching or faux stitching is on the list too. So this time, sometimes I like to stitch. I do like to stitch. But this time I decided that I was going to do the faux stitching because I was going all around the edge of that pattern shaped paper. I mean, looking at it now, if you don't watch the video, you wouldn't realize that it was a separate sheet of paper. But yeah, I've had it a long time, and it came 4 in the package. And I think every other layout I used it on, I think I cut it apart and used a stripe on the back. I might have used half of it one time, but yeah, this first time I've used the whole thing, but I was determined to use it. Since she's dressed like Spider Girl, I wanted to make sure that little spider and spider web to the left of her, well, it's to her right, but to my left, the left side of the page, that there is that spider showing. And I wanted to add another spider since it is Spider Girl, and that's the theme of this layout. So I put my broom next to the picture, and then I put the spider web on it with the other spider that I inked a wee bit too much. And my cat, I'm going to put right over there in the corner. And I did put him up on foam tape, and I'm going to put the cauldron on foam tape too. I am only using, well, 3 of the pumpkins. I made 4 because I planned on putting 3 and then 1 over there by the broom. But I forgot about the jack-o'-lantern when I was thinking that. So I'm only going to use 4 because one of the pumpkins is going to lay over to the side. And, oh, here I was thinking about putting a brad or 2. I thought maybe I'd put the Flair and a couple of brads together because, I hadn't figured out where I was going to put that at, and I'd forgotten about it. So I will have to figure that out. And as you can see, there's not a whole lot of choices there. My title, I'm going to make the 2 Spider Girl with the glitter stickers, but then I used which I forgot to show y'all, the Echo Park little letters there. And it's Don't Mess with Spider Girl. And, oh, I was trying to figure out how to do that flare. You know, these recipe challenges, it seems like there's always one thing that you have more trouble with than the others. And it's mainly because, sometimes if one person does it, they give like things that kind of go together. But we have different ones do it, so it's different ideas coming in, and they don't know what the others picked. So I had trouble with the flare, and I thought I don't just want to lay it somewhere on the layout because I couldn't figure out a place to just lay it. So I decided to make a little cluster, and I made a banner out of that striped paper. So the background, the shaped paper, the broom with 2, and that one makes 5. pattern papers on there, even though it's kind of hard to tell if you just look at the layout. They might have meant have 5 papers layered. I'm not sure, but I do have 5 pattern papers on here. And I put on there, it says under my spell uh, for the little word phrases. And then the Flair says monster thing, I think. Let me look. It's, well, wild thing. Well, there is one that says Flair on there. I put my splatters on there because, that's on the list to do too. And I thought, I thought I'd leave it there, and then I glanced at it as I was getting ready to walk away, and I thought the G on girl wasn't straight, and I went to straighten it, and it hit me. My splatters were not even close to being dry. And I lifted my hand, and there it was. Well, it was on my hand too, but it was smeared. So I had to put sequins on here so I could cover most of this little smear up. I can't cover it all up. There's a little bit showing on each side, but I did cover it up. And I noticed when I was about halfway done that I didn't just scatter them. I'm personally putting each and every one on there. And you will notice in the photos at the end that there is 3 more on there because I added 3 to the cauldron. And while I was doing the cauldron, I thought, oh my goodness, I could have used sequins as bubbles in the cauldron. But by then I thought I'll have to do it next time. But how cool would that be to have some in the cauldron, not on the rest of the page, in the cauldron, and a few like they're floating away, up in the air. But yeah, I thought of that while I was putting those 3 on there. But yeah, if you look down there below, you'll see the other gals' links that are doing the Scrapfive challenge this month. And you can try the list and use hashtag Scrapfive on Instagram so we can see what you created with your list of 5 on your layout. And if you leave a comment below, I'll try to get back with you. And if you like the video and hit a thumbs up, I'd appreciate it. And if you are not subscribed to my channel, I would love to have you subscribe. And those of you already are, thank you so much. But yeah, that's it. That's my layout. And when I put Don't Mess with Spider Girl, I was thinking, the villain was the witch. And she put her in the cauldron. But thank you all so much for watching, and I hope you all have a happy, scrappy week. Bye.